You are, Mayor.
I can tell you about the fight.
Send a pigeon.
Okay, everybody, we are going to get started here. So I'm calling this meeting to order. My light's not on?
Is her microphone
I
on?
think my mic's on. Yes, I think my mic's on. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. I am so thrilled to see you all here today. Thank you for coming. Thank you. This is my very last city council meeting and serving as the mayor and on the city council. And I have been at and chaired more than 300 of these meetings. But as I was just speaking with the city staff, just as we were walking in, I will still have a lot of meetings at the state senate. So it's not that this is my last meeting, but it's my last meeting as the mayor. So I feel very sentimental about this today, and I'm really glad that you all came here, and we're going to have a great recognition. So first of all, we're going to call this meeting to order, and this is the special meeting of the Encinitas City Council. It is 6:10 p.m. on Tuesday, November 29, 2022. May we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Hinsey.
Here?
Councilmember Crayons.
Here.
Councilmember Lyons.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Mosca.
Here.
And for the last time, Mayor Blakespear.
Here.
The record will show all members are present.
Thank you. So first, I'm going to start by recognizing my family, and I would like to ask them to join me up here at this microphone, and I will introduce them to you. So this is my family, and they are my rock. They are my foundation. They are the reason that I can do this very exposed work of being in public office. And it's because I come home to my husband, my wonderful husband, Jeremy Blakespear, who does everything to support the family and me, to our two teenagers, Ava and Oliver Blakespear. And let's just go ahead and put up the photo that shows them actually on the day I was sworn in. So that's 2014, the day I was sworn in on the Encinitas City Council 8 years ago. And I mean, as this is up here, just look at these two children and how much they've changed. It's incredible to me. So they were 6 and 7 years old. And now they are 14 and 15 years old. So in many ways, they've grown up here in City Hall because I've been in local office the entire time of their youth. And they have had their mom as the mayor, and that means that sometimes their friends would say, is she going to give us a ticket for jaywalking? Or they thought I was the code enforcement and the police and everything. Or can you get your own street paved? And it's like, no, those are not things that happen anymore. So it's great to have such a supportive family right here of me. And I want to recognize the generation above me. So I grew up in a multi-generational household with my grandma, and I'm so thrilled that our kids are growing up together with a multi-generational household with their grandma and aunt and dad and uncle. So this is my mom, Tricia Smith. And this is my dad, John Blake. And this is my aunt, Rosemary Kimball. And this is my uncle, Raymond Elstead. And we all live very close to each other. Everybody is helping with the kids and the driving to allow mommy to be the mayor. And I would like to show, and I'd like to show the next photo, which actually shows the night of the swearing in as well, all the people that were in the audience on that night, which is interesting. You can see some, like our former supervisor, Dave Roberts, is right there sitting. And I was looking through who's here, and you really recognize a lot of people who've been civically engaged for more than 8 years. So I'm going to give all of my family members a little flower here as a thank you for everything that you have done to allow me to do this work and to serve my community, because it has been really the honor of my lifetime, and I could not do it if I didn't have such a supportive family. Yes. Okay, so let's get a picture of the group of us here. Here, I'll stand in the middle. So I'd like to show you the next photo, which is, so this is this postcard. That is Oak Crest Middle School, built right there on this postcard in 1957. My daughter Ava attended Oak Crest and my mom attended Oak Crest. And you can see there that it was described on the back of this postcard as an ultra-modern school consisting of 25 classrooms, 5 wings with woodworking and metal shops. And then it says it is situated on the heights above Encinitas overlooking the ocean with a view of the mountains as far as Mount Palomar. And I think when I look at pictures like this, and I think we all probably have a similar feeling about it, which is, wow, those were the days. Those were the days when it wasn't developed, when things were pristine. But the question that I always ask myself when I have that thought is, when do people get to become endemic to place? Because we know that our native populations were endemic to this place of Encinitas, but so are we. And the thing that I think when I am looking at a picture like this is that the people at the time, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, who moved here in the 1920s to grow flowers, when my grandma was growing up as a teenager growing flowers, there was not a consistent watering system, and there were no greenhouses, and they would use as their fertilizer the kelp from the ocean. So you think about how different it was, but their connection to the land was really as profound as so many of us feel about our city of Encinitas. And it's really what animates all of the activism and so much of the commitment that we see from our communities is that feel of that sagebrush. Or today when I was at the beach, it's the mist, it's the feeling of the vastness of the ocean, it's the sand on your feet. It's all the things that make us love this place of Encinitas. And I know I speak for all the council members, and I know I speak for all of you in saying that we so deeply love Encinitas. We want to protect it, we want to preserve it, we want to make sure that it is great for the generations going forward, because ultimately we are just custodians at this time. There were people who came before us and people who will come after us, and we want to leave it as good as we found it, if not better. And I think that commitment animates a lot of the public comment that comes here at City Council, but there are also these other really important values. There's the value of not wanting our neighbors to live unsheltered on the street, of wanting people who grew up here to be able to afford to continue living here. All of our different environmental commitments, all of these things come together to create our policy making. And so when I think back about the last 8 years, 6 as mayor, 2 on City Council, what are the things that I am most proud of? I'm most proud of what we built and created and invested in, but I'm also proud of what we rejected, and I'm proud of what we retained. So those things, and I just want to highlight the things that we've built and created and invested in, there are unquestionably improvements that are transformational and transformative in Encinitas. So we have a large number of things in the housing and transportation categories. So the Coastal Rail Trail. We have the executive director right here of Hassan Ikrada of Sandag. You want to stand up, The Coastal Rail Trail was the first political thing I cut my teeth on. I think I'm still pulling arrows out of my back from that. That was rough. But one of the most impactful conversations I had as a city, just as I was becoming the mayor, was with Hassan's predecessor. And we had such a difficult time deciding about the Coastal Rail Trail, where to put it, whether to put it. And he said to me, "Do you want this project? You're the mayor of the city. Do you want this project? Because if you don't, we can put it to the back of the line. There are other communities that want improvements. You don't have to have this." And we had such an active group of people who did not want it, so vocal, so engaged. And I said, "I want this project. Please build it." And Sandag did. And it now is this incredible public space that, yes. And it was created in a place that was not a great public space. It was not very usable for most people, but yet there still is that commitment, this same commitment that this type of thing inspires, that people want to preserve and protect the thing as it is. So the Cardiff Coastal Rail Trail is one, but then there's Leucadia Streetscape, another huge transformative project, making our roads more modern, making it so that people can bike and walk. We have sand dunes on the beach that we didn't have before. We have a new Moonlight Beach lifeguard tower. We have these transformational improvements in the San Elijo Lagoon, which were built by Caltrans and Sandag. These were not things that the city did, but they happened to be during our time on the council and are a great benefit to everybody who lives here. We also have a lot of different housing improvements. So we have over 330 new units that are deed-restricted affordable homes in this city. And yes, thank you. And those would not be there if we were not required by the state to provide affordable homes in every city. Every city's responsibility. So we have a plan now to do that in the city of Encinitas, and we are executing against that. We also have more than 350 accessory dwelling units, which is another affordable by design way to scatter density that does not disturb neighborhoods, that allows the value to go to the homeowner. So there are many things that we've done in the housing area and the transportation area. One of the things that we rejected that I feel really good about that is almost never mentioned is Surfers Point. That was a proposed resort right on our border with Carlsbad and the lagoon, and this council rejected that. We were sued over it. It was upheld in court, and that project is not moving forward. We also have retained. We've retained a large number of things. One of the first things I had an influence on as a city council member was retaining the Cardiff fire station. So we had just built a brand new station. That was one of our first two, was the one in Cardiff, and we were proposed to just basically surplus, sell it, but we kept it, and now we still own it. It's west of the 5. It's flexible for the city to do what we want with it. We also changed our policies around the public's right-of-way, so we are not giving that up anymore to private homeowners that want to dedicate that land. That was a fight that our Assemblymember Tasha Berner-Horvath and I were very involved in. And so changing some of these things about retaining, we retain the land underneath the Habitat for Humanity homes that were built in Leucadia. We retained the trees, as many as we could, in the Caltrans right-of-way, with advocacy, with saying we want to keep these trees. We retain the ficus trees in our downtown. We retain the eucalyptus trees in Cottonwood Creek Park. There are lots of things that are small that go unnoticed, but they come from the council as a whole and our commitment that's the same as your commitment to the things and the values that really matter, which is improving our quality of life, protecting our environment, investing in making our community more just. I feel very proud of the things that we've done around diversity, equity, and inclusion. After George Floyd's murder, we formed an equity committee. We declared ourselves, thank you. Yes. We declared ourselves a welcoming community. We fly the rainbow flag in June to recognize that who you love shouldn't matter. Yes. There are a lot of things in the area of equity and a commitment to diversity and giving voice to those values. Women's right to choose, to decide when, whether, and with whom to have children. That was something that we as a council said we did not want the government involved in. So some of these things, the safe parking program for our unsheltered neighbors, these are all, yes, thank you. these are all hard things to do because everything is that balance. And so I look back on my service and my colleagues on the council, and I've been so grateful for the teammates that I've had that we are able to make these changes to accomplish this progress and to be deeply engaged with the civic dialogue with all of you. So I want to recognize some of the people I've served with, and I'd like to particularly start with a recognition of the women, because this is the council that came before me. So there's Tony Kranz right there, and then he's going to be the next mayor. Let's give him a big round of applause. So I want to mention this lineup here. So Kristen Gaspar was the mayor before me. I'm only the second directly elected mayor, so I took the baton from her and I'm passing it to Tony. There's Teresa Barth. She's right there. Stand up, Teresa. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. And then next to her is Lisa Schaefer, an amazing leader and someone who I served with and really learned from. Both Teresa and Lisa were mentors of mine, and I was so grateful to come onto a city council that had them on it. And then Mark Muir is here. He was also a good team member, former fire chief. He's on the left, and he was actually beat in his election by Jody Hubbard, who then died in office, or died right before. Unfortunately, she was just barely 2 years into her term, and she resigned because she had lung cancer, was never a smoker. And then we appointed Joy to fill the remainder of her term to carry on her values. So, so in the city's history, there have been a total of 19 mayors. So we've been a city for 36 years. We've had 19 mayors, and 12 have been women. 12. That's incredible. Yeah. And when I think about, well, why is that? What does it mean to have had 12 mayors? I've been at a number of U.S. Conference of Mayors events talking to other women who say, I'm the first mayor and we've been a city for 150 years. You know, I'm the first woman mayor kind of thing. And so to me, it's a recognition of two things, that the public in Encinitas, the voting public, really has internalized equality. That people see women as being able to do as good a job in the top leadership position in the city, the elected officials, as a man, and also that women are running. So women are raising their hands. The civic engagement, the civic commitment is deep in the city, and it comes from men and from women. And so we've had this surprisingly large number. And I want to just mention the list of women who have served. These are people who are basically in the recent past that I've been a part of or just before me. So starting with Maggie Houlihan, who I did not know actually, but she was, I think the women who come after her all serve in a similar line. So there was Maggie Houlihan, and then Teresa Barth and Lisa Schaefer and Kristen Gaspar, and then me, and then Tasha Berner Horvath, our assembly member, Jody Hubbard, Kelly Hinsey, and Joy Lyons. So that is really an impressive number of leaders. And the women have shown up in all sorts of different ways as their authentic self, centering the values of the community, centering the values of helping to raise all ships, and have also created a working environment that I think is very collegial and collaborative and cooperative and works toward consensus. And I think one of the things that's worth highlighting is that we sometimes are criticized for coming to consensus, for not having split votes. And I think what I see, what I experience is that my council members are all expressing their opinions. They are all fully engaged in this work. And we try to work toward consensus because we want everybody to be able to reach the goals that they have. So having that collaborative approach is something that I am very proud of and do not feel is a detriment. And I think you look at other boards and you look at Congress and you think, would we really prefer that? You know, having and the people, I'll also just note that the people who were appointed, then the voters elected them, but not always, because Mark Muir was appointed and then won and then lost. So the voters are very engaged in figuring out who they want to represent them. I don't believe that because someone has been appointed, that means that somehow they're not as legitimate as a local elected, especially because the voters have the opportunity to see them for 2 years and how they work. So I'm proud of the people that I've served with, and I'm particularly proud of the women leadership that we have had in this city. So let's give a big round of applause for that. So the next slide is the next council. So this was the council that came after. So I won my first term as mayor, and we appointed Joe Mosca into the seat that I vacated. And then, yes, there's Joe. Thank you. Joe has been a great teammate. He's deeply insightful, and he has a reverence for protocol and an understanding of how cities work. He served on a city council for 6 years before coming here and serving for 6 years. So I know you'll all have the opportunity to honor him at his last city council meeting, but I really love serving with you, Joe, and I appreciate you. And then we have Tasha Berner-Horvath, our assembly member. Here, stand up, Tasha. So it is quite remarkable to have in the city of Encinitas both your senator and your assembly member come from here. I know, and our county supervisor, Tara Lawson-Reamer, who said she might make it today. Is she in here? I don't see her. But, it is remarkable. The other cities in North County, Carlsbad, Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, they don't have that same representation at the state level that Encinitas has. And we bring that orientation from having served in this community. We know these projects, we know the values of the community. So it's unquestionably a benefit, I think, to have both of us serving and representing you. And then we have Tony and Mark. You saw them in the former photo. And I'll say about Tony that I was asking him if he could make this meeting today. And he said, have I ever missed a meeting in 10 years? And to me, that is a reflection of his commitment, his deep rootedness. Tony loves to research things and get to the original source document of something that happened many decades ago. It is an impressive skill. I think you could have been a PhD if you had taken a different path in life.
Different path, and I would like to point out that I'm not actually 6 inches taller than everybody else. I didn't get shorter, okay?
He's standing on something, that's true. Okay, and then the next council that we've been with. So Tasha was in our photo. So she's not on the council, but she's like a 6th council member because this is the council that Jody won her election. So we know Tony here on the side. And Jody won her election to represent District 3. And then Tasha was our assembly member, just brand new as an assembly member. And then there I am, and there is Kelly Hinsey. So she was appointed into the position that Tasha vacated when she became the assembly member. And Kelly has a new baby. Here you go. It's in the life cycles of people, it's wonderful to have a new mom, because that is something that women do. They give birth, and so, no, it's true. And so having a little baby, which I see Kelly's family is all here. Mom, dad, wave. Kelly's mom and dad, wave. There they are right there. And her baby is like 4 months old or 5 months old, and Nick, 3.5 months old. So, and her name's Lakey, and you'll see her around, and you can give her a little smile. Okay, Lakey's on her way in. Oh, sweet. And Kelly is an empath. She feels deeply. She's a deep thinker. She reflects on things. I think she's a truth teller. So Kelly is somebody that really brings values and articulates them in such a deeply compelling way on the city council. She was somebody who we really had to convince. I worked very hard to convince her that we saw leadership in her that she didn't see yet. And that's part of the conversation with women sometimes, is like, that they don't see it yet in themselves. And I feel like with Kelly, I'm so glad that she finally saw it a little bit with a lot of pressure, and that she agreed to be on the council and then run for re-election. So thank you, Kelly. And then the last council, which is the one that we're in now. So this is when we dedicated the El Portal undercrossing, which was one of the transformative projects we've had in the city. And this was just a couple months ago. And so you know everybody in the photo, except for Joy. I haven't given her flowers yet. And I want to say that Joy she's a deep researcher. She is always very prepared. She knocked on every single door in D3 as part of her election. She's a landscape architect, and she's an environmentalist, and she and her husband both were deeply involved with Pacific View, volunteering. There he is at the back. Hello. And brings all that commitment. When she applied for this spot, you know, there was really no other candidate that had as much richness to their background as Joy did, and she brings all of that to the city council. So I'm so glad and relieved that she was reelected, and I think that the city is in very good hands here with this group of people who we're leaving it with. So in conclusion, this is the end of my words. So in conclusion, it really, truly has been the honor of my lifetime to serve as the mayor in the city of Encinitas. My great-grandparents moved here 100 years ago and have been contributing, my family has been contributing to this city for all of those years, and it's just amazingly a privilege to know that the residents of the city have elected me to serve them and to carry forth their values. So I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart, I have a very big and deep thank you for being willing to have me as your mayor, because it's been a tremendous honor. I also recognize, like I mentioned before, that we carry this baton forward, and we are custodians and we are stewards, but the city is always yours. The city always is the people's, and the people elect people who represent their values, and there will be many electeds and many mayors after me, and I recognize my very small place in that. And I hope, as I pass the baton to Tony as the next mayor and to the council members that will come after me, there are a couple things I just want to mention that I hope you continue doing. So one is we have an amazing sister city program with Amaxa Japan. So with COVID and all of these things, that maybe has received less attention, but that is tremendously valuable, that international partnership. Sister city programs were started after World War II to create an understanding of the other. And so I think we need to continue that program, and I hope that you go to Japan and you have them into your house. We hosted a Japanese student in our home, and I think that's a richness that we have in this city. I also hope that you actualize Pacific View into the gem it was meant to be. We broke ground on it, but it has a lot that needs to be actualized, and there will be a lot of decisions to make. And so I sincerely hope that that's part of the next step. That's right, exactly. We have done a lot. The bar is really high. I hope you continue to transform our road network to make it easier to bike and walk. I think our roads can be public places that we enjoy being on, that are safe, that don't kill people on bicycles and walking. And we have done so much in that area. I hope that you continue to do those things. I hope you continue to invest in housing and to see housing as a good, not housing as a bad, because housing is so foundational for people to be able to live their life. And so seeing housing as a human right, seeing us as doing our part instead of saying we're going to close the door after us. I hope that we don't get mired back in housing lawsuits we can't win. I hope that we continue to find ways to add housing that complements, that builds community character. We can do that. We have done that. And I sincerely hope that we continue that. Thank you. I hope that you continue to help our homeless neighbors. We've done a little bit around the safe parking program. We have a lot of people who are suffering. There are lots and lots of things that need to be done. I plan to work on this as my first bill on the first day at the state level. So, so it is the case though that cities feel the brunt of it, and people are living on city streets. They're not living on state streets, they're living on city streets. So it really will take partnerships and that commitment to change the status quo that we've slowly allowed to get to the position it is. I hope that we continue our environmental legacy in the city. I have no doubt we will. That comes directly as an upwelling from our community. We punch above our weight in this city when it comes to our environmental commitments, 100% renewable power, moving into all new buildings being all 100% electric, our transportation network, eliminating plastics and water bottles from city events. There are huge numbers of things we've done in the city, and I hope we continue to do all of those things and to push that envelope. And then finally, I hope that we continue to lead with kindness, because there is very much a cruelty and a meanness and a viciousness that's part of the civic dialogue right now. And I, as the mayor, have always tried to model to my colleagues as I talk to them, to the public as I talk to them, being kind and compassionate and trying to hear the truth of what someone is saying. And I think we all could do with a little bit more kindness as part of our civic approach in the city of Encinitas. And we would be well served to do that. I think building trust in our civic institutions, like with our resident academy we've just started, and continuing to encourage the vast majority of people who want to apply for commissions to get involved in that. All of our civic institutions that are so rich, our 101s, the Chamber, the 101 Main Street associations who support our businesses, the Chamber. We have a number of community groups that are vitally important. All of that builds the civic dialogue and the civic personality of our city, and it really is who we are for many, many people who visit here too. So leading with kindness, being compassionate, those are things that I hope we continue on the city council as well to embody. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So now it's our turn. It really is great to see everyone here tonight. There's so many awesome people in this room. And really, a lot of the accomplishments that this city council and prior city councils have accomplished over the last several years are because of you. You guys are out there helping us. Nothing that we've done would not be possible without your help. You're the ones talking to the residents, helping us, amplifying our influence in the community, explaining to people, taking time to explain what we're doing, from safe parking, anything we're doing, you're supporting, and your support has helped at least me for the last 6 years. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. I also want to recognize staff. We have a number of staff members in the back of the room here. I'm not sure why you're hanging out in the back, but we do support, we love you guys, and thank you for your support. You guys have been amazing. Our assistant city manager up here, Jennifer Campbell, who's an all-star player, Kathy Hollywood, and all of our city attorney, our deputy city clerk. Also our public safety folks here, our interim fire chief, and our captain of our police, local police force. Thank you guys for everything that you do. And so what I'm going to do is just say a few words about Catherine. Some may be uncomfortable. No, I'm joking. Say a few words in honor of Catherine, and then just kind of pass it down the line to my colleagues. If you'd like to, if you feel the need or like to say anything, feel the spirit, then you could say something. And then what we'll do is we'll come up here and just present you with a plaque, if that's okay. All right. So today is an opportunity to celebrate public service in general, but more specifically the public service of our mayor and friend, Catherine Blakespeare. When I first met Catherine, met with her for the purpose of sharing with her my interest in serving on the Parks and Recreation Commission, which I served on prior to the City Council for a couple years. In retrospect, that first meeting was the start of a great partnership and a friendship, which I'm confident will last a whole lifetime. So thank you. What quickly became apparent to me is that that we both shared a common passion for making a difference in our community and several core values. I came away from our first meeting with a belief that she is someone who has a strong sense of who she is, what she wants to accomplish in political office, and the belief that politics is the art of the possible. Through several local campaigns and public service on this city council for the last 6 years with Catherine, I've come to find that her beliefs, coupled with her intelligence, which you can see on display today, her commitment to public service, her dedication makes her a true change maker for our city and for the region. She is a person who is not okay with status quo. She's a person who sees a problem and needs to fix it. She once told me that she never wants to be someone who just occupies the chair up here at the dais, but she wants to make a difference for our community. Solving problems is not easy. This is my 12th year in local government, and I can tell you that change is incredibly difficult, not only for us, but for folks that we seek to serve. Local office is not a place where the rubber hits the road, and can oftentimes be incredibly intense, especially as we've just emerged from this pandemic. Democracy is not neat, and which is the beauty, I think, of democracy. Catherine's public service shows us that to be successful in public office, meaning make a difference, you need a backbone, a solid commitment to public service and doing good, a laser focus on your goals, character, thick skin, an understanding of our history, which I think is important. If you've ever seen some of her posts on Facebook or social media, she often talks about different places that she's traveled to and the history of our country and the local history as well, which I think is incredibly important to kind of put in perspective what we're doing up here as well. And a belief that politics is the art of the possible, and an absolute positive and optimistic view of the future, which she has. During our time together on this city council, with your help, we've tackled many difficult challenges. I'm not going to name all the challenges, but I do think that there are some that are important, such as the adoption of a gold standard, award-winning climate action plan, which is reducing greenhouse gases locally and preparing our city for the impacts of climate change. And thank you, staff. I don't know if Crystal's here, but Crystal Nahara was amazingly instrumental in that. And I do see some of our environmental commissioners, including Joy, a former environmental commissioner, who helped with that task in a huge way. Creation of San Diego Community Power, which I'm very proud of, the second largest community choice energy program in the state of California, which is prioritizing clean energy. This is the only city member agency within San Diego Community Power, 7 member agencies, that defaulted at 100% clean energy. So we are powering this building and all the homes in this city with 100% clean energy. And so we're not only at San Diego Community Power prioritizing clean energy, but we're prioritizing local generation, which was very important to Tony, local generation, good paying jobs, affordability, equity, and making sure we're not leaving anyone behind in this energy transition. And it's quite literally a game changer for the region and for the state and for the nation, because I think that they're actually, we find the Department of Energy actually looking to California and a lot of the things that we're doing here in the state of California for ways of moving to clean energy in the nation as well. We're the first city in San Diego County to adopt a building electrification ordinance and many REACH codes that have moved our community closer to a more sustainable future. We adopted a homelessness action plan and local solutions such as safe parking program, which became very needed during the pandemic. We passed that before the pandemic, and then when the pandemic happened, it only exacerbated what we already saw, that there were a lot of people falling behind, and there were a lot of people that needed a hand up, and that was what that program is. Focus on equity and inclusion. The mayor and Councilmember Hensey sat on a committee that actually put forth a lot of recommendations, some that we actually put in place already and some that you guys, we're looking to you guys to put in place in the future. Resolution of multiple lawsuits regarding the city's long-time non-compliance with state housing laws. We resolved that, millions of dollars in lawsuits. Certified housing element for the first time in the city's history, almost 40-year history of cityhood. The first time under this city council, we had a certified housing element in compliance with the state's laws. Providing additional affordable and moderate level income housing units, yes, because moderate level housing is missing in Encinitas. We no longer just are looking at affordable, but now for moderate level, because the police officers and the firefighters, which I'm sure our firefighters and police officers can attest to, can't find housing in our city. And so we need to do more, but we have been doing a lot to provide additional affordable and moderate level housing in our city. Infrastructure improvements that are enhancing the safety of our roads and giving people more options for getting around our city. This is something that we've spent a lot of time on over the last several years. And it's not just, I hear some people say, oh, they just threw money at a project. It is so much more than that. And we've done a lot of adjusting of our procedures, process, city staff to ensure that we're able to deliver these projects on time and within budget. Reorganization of city staff so the structure was better positioned to advance the goals of this city council. That was a huge undertaking, and it took a long time to get all of the staff members in place after that reorganization happened. Guided the city through threats of lawsuits against its prior at-large elections and adoption of city council districts, which I think now has shown to have greater representation for the residents of Encinitas. Leadership during a pandemic. Leadership during a pandemic when everything was closed down and the normal shifted overnight. Overnight, it was, how do we conduct our meetings? How do we do this? How do we do that? And so this city council, and especially the mayor, was leading during that, and that was extraordinary. New city manager and city attorneys. This is our, I think, second or third new city attorney, and he's amazing, and hopefully you stay for a while. Leading on the effort to create a brand new source of water with our wastewater. Some people don't like talking about that, but one of the things I did, and Catherine did as well, is served under wastewater. Yes, I am the life of the party when I go and talk about wastewater. But it quite literally is a brand new source of water, essentially using our stream of wastewater to create what is called potable reuse. And I hope that this city continues to be leaders on that, and one day that we actually have a brand new source of water. Catherine was a leader on a multimodal regional transportation system and focusing on decreasing traffic congestion right here in our communities. You saw Asan Akrata, who is an amazing leader. Hopefully he does stay in the region and continues to build the transportation system that we actually deserve and need in this region. And just in end, I would say that we are better off today than previously, and the quality of life that we all enjoy is much higher and much stronger today because of Catherine's leadership. Thank you, Catherine, for your leadership and your many contributions to the betterment of our community. We're going to miss you. I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss the team. But we look forward to everything that you'll accomplish at the state level. And we know that the things that you're accomplishing is partly because of us, because we've basically helped create who you are today. No joking. With your family, of course. Thank you.
Well, Joe speaks for all of us when he talks about the arc of how this city has evolved under Catherine's leadership. And so, as you can tell by how many things he's characterized, even though she's stepping into a new role, she's not leaving us, but she leaves us from this role in a much better place than we were. And so we're very grateful for her, for that very embracing approach to leadership and bringing us forward through difficult times and difficult decisions. I want to just say a couple more personal words. I want to thank you, Catherine, for your friendship, which is very important to me, and also for your mentorship. And I'm glad that you touched on mentorship in what you presented earlier, because mentorship is a deep value. It's something that not everyone is good at. It's something that not everyone brings to the table, but it's something that seems pervasive in our community. And our leadership, and Catherine embodies this, really embraces that, to bring those forward, to bring out the light in people, to bring out the light in all of us. And I think that's one of the reasons why this is such a rich community of future leaders and current leaders. Sometimes I think there's something in the soil or there's something in the water. You know, I'm a landscape architect. I think that way. You know, I'm really tied to the earth. But it goes beyond that, too, and it's in our own spirit. It's who we are and our willingness and desire to help each other and to bring us all forward. The second thing I want to touch on is family and how important family is to Catherine, and I understand that. That's a wonderful opportunity you have with such a beautiful and supportive family. And I know my colleagues here on City Council feel the same way about their families, and I want to call it out that since I'm the freshman here, I'm all in about family. You're not up here by yourself. I want to call out my family. My husband, Rob, is in the back, as was noted earlier. Sometimes it's harder on them than on us. And so I just want to say that, and I'm so fortunate to have more of my family in this area as well. But I don't want to stop there because I actually feel like my family's in this room. I feel like everyone here, I know you all, and you've all become my family. Thank you. So I want to thank Catherine explicitly for your leadership for me, to mentor me, not only leadership here in governance, which is so critically important, but also leadership in understanding how to campaign and your generosity in your input to me during campaigning. Thank you so much. I want to close by just saying I want to kind of play off of the mentorship a little bit to say our future is ahead of us. I am forward thinking. I want to continue to help us mentor the next generation or the next group of leaders. It doesn't stop here. Everyone in this room is engaged, and we need to all work together to rise up the next leadership of our community. So I look forward to working with you to do that. Thank you, Catherine.
So today is a very bittersweet day. I'm really happy for you that you won your election, your most recent election, but I'm also really sad for us, and especially for me, because I've so enjoyed getting the chance to sit up here, sit next to you, and do the city business together. The first meeting that I came to as an adult was the rail trail meeting, and it was packed in here, and that was the first time I took the opportunity to give public comment. And I remember feeling so energized by that discussion, even though it was a really tumultuous meeting. I remember thinking, like, this is so cool the way this deliberation happens, and I know that person from 1991, and there's my babysitter and Mrs. Thum from 4th grade, and feeling that sense of community, even though it was a really hard discussion to have, drew me in, and I think I've never left that discussion since that night. And to touch on the fact that a lot of people criticize us because we're 5-0 votes, or, during my election, I heard a lot of, you just do whatever the mayor says. And something I would like to reveal tonight is that it was the mayor who came to Lucadia 101 and learned about the streetscape project that we had been talking about for a decade. And we said, we think this would be a really great project for the city. And it was you who said, you know what, I think you guys are right. And you listened to us. And throughout the years, you came back to us and said, well, what about this issue with the Coastal Commission? What about this issue? There were all these red herrings and these flags that kept coming up with the project. And you would come to us for that input. And so many times you said, Kelly, what do you think? And I was scared that you were asking me what I thought at that time. So I was like, this very illustrious woman is talking to me. But you gave me the avenue to tell you what I actually thought. And I was so moved by that because you really opened up the space for us to have a dialogue about infrastructure in our city. And that project has been so transformative for me. It's been so transformative for my family, for my mom, who's here tonight, who has been using a wheelchair for a decade now, and she's now able to roll to and from Pawlecky Central, where she continues to teach. And And on this last Sunday, I said, Mom, I called her, where are you? I'm coming over from the farmer's market. And we met under the undercross. And something caught my eye, and it was this tiny little note card that had been affixed to the fence. And I looked at it, I got close up to it, and it was in tiny, tiny font. And it said, Mayor Blakespeare, thank you for this piece of infrastructure. And it said some other things too, which I won't repeat. But I just thought that I didn't do it, and I just thought that that was so sweet that somebody had. And if you are in the audience tonight, just give me a little microwave. It can be now or later, but I want to know who did that because it was so creative and so thoughtful. And it was a chance for me to reflect as I pushed my daughter down this brand new piece of infrastructure along this. It's become a gathering point for our community, honestly. And that was not that way when my dad was growing up here, when I was growing up here, and it has just changed the way that we move around town. And so on that point, I want to acknowledge something that I often feel. And I remember, hearing a lot of my dad's stories and thinking, gosh, it would have been so cool to be here in the 70s or the 60s, and those were the good old days. And I was probably an 11-year-old saying, like, yeah, take me back to those good old days. And I have these moments now, whether it's riding my bike from Cardiff to Leucadia at night. Like, I saw a shooting star one night while I was riding my bike on the rail trail, and I had this experience like, these are the good old days. I'm living these good old days. And then after, I think it was last year's holiday parade, I saw Ava, and she was riding her bike around in the open street after the event was over. And then during the pandemic, I saw Oliver hopping on his bike and riding to school. And I'm like, for these kids, these are the good old days. And for my daughter, she's going to be, maybe the best days for our city are yet to come. And I know that that's true for this generation that's growing up here now. And I think what you have so realized about our city is that when the last generation was here, in my neck of the woods, you could rent a room for $300 a month, and you could live in Encinitas. And there are so many people who have been priced out, and a lot of those people are our creative spark, and the young ones, and the people that kind of bring this generational energy to us, where they're the makers and the doers and the practitioners. And I think that you've understood we have to keep making a place for those people, because if we don't do that through housing, the good days are not yet to come. And so it's through our housing and through our infrastructure improvements and through our new parks that have been added in the time that you've been mayor that we have that opportunity for ourselves. So I say thank you for that. And the last thing that I want to acknowledge is that I am a little bit of a late bloomer, in that I've had a lot of experiences that other people have, earlier in life, later. So I'm a mom, a little older in life. And Catherine, you're very direct. And so you'd want to talk to me about things in the city, but you'd also want to say, what are you doing about having a kid soon? Or what's your plan for having a child? And I would always say, I don't know, maybe I'm going to go to Europe or have a honeymoon or something like that, and then think about having kids. And I said, I just can't think about doing that while I'm in office. I'll wait for my term to end. And you said, no, don't wait for your term to end. Have kids sooner than later. You won't regret it. It'll be the best decision of your life. And really, I needed somebody to say that to me, because I think I was going to push it off maybe to the point where it was never possible. So I got pregnant, and I said, I'm going to still come to meetings. I'm going to, I have a really supportive husband. I'll come to the council meetings when my daughter's brand new. And you said, absolutely not. You are not going to come to meetings. You're going to take a break. You're going to bond with your child. And that was another time where I was so resistant, but I'm so grateful that you are a mother yourself, and that you've created a space for people like me and Joy and Joe to serve in this office, and that we're getting to have these very unique experiences and not forfeit any of those experiences, like becoming a mom, which has been really one of the best ones of my life, and you were right about that. So thank you. And And I know that you're going to continue to fight as hard for us in Sacramento as you have here in Encinitas. And I also want to say thank you to your family, who have all become very dear to me and have transformed my life in some of the best ways I possibly can imagine. So I think we're all here in this room together because we've experienced positive changes in our lives thanks to you. So know that as you go on. Forget all the haters. in all the time that I struggled being in this seat, I was never resentful to you, even though it was because of you and Tasha that I sit here. So I'm free of resentment, and I'm very happy for... No, I am looking forward to serving with Tony, and I hope that he also...
You missed the joke. I said, just wait, you get to serve with Tony.
I hope that Tony also encourages women and young women to serve in this office and say things like, take 2 months off to go bond with your child. So thank you, Catherine, for saying that to me, and I look forward to all that the future holds.
Yes, but I won't give you any advice on motherhood, though. So you'll still need Joy and Catherine for that. And this evening is pretty special. I've had the opportunity to serve with Catherine for a long time. I was reflecting on my relationship with her, and quite frankly, it began before I was serving on the council. I came to the podium when she was a traffic commissioner with a half dozen of my neighbors advocating for a stop sign at Hygeia and Sirius. And I knew that that had been a real battle to get that on a traffic commission agenda. It was a project, it was something that the neighborhood had been working on for a long time. But we were hopeful, even though their staff report recommended that it not be approved, we were still hopeful. So I was looking to Catherine for her support of the neighborhood. And I was a little crestfallen when it was a 5-0 vote to deny our stop sign. So
I'm sorry, I don't even remember it.
I'm sure you don't, yes. But I didn't hold a grudge. But I got even because I became a council member, right? And in the way this stuff works, it was a while before we had that issue before us again. But I was deliberate, and we did eventually get it here. And we had a very strong neighborhood advocacy group led by the PTA of the Paul East Central School. Tasha Berner Horvath was leading the public effort to get the stop sign installed. And she was fortunate because she had a strong supporter in at least one council member, and we unanimously approved that very important stop sign. It's an all-way stop, so we accomplished that. And the efforts that Tasha made in getting that stop sign installed became mythical, and it's one of the things she talked about at just about every meet and greet she had in her run for both the council and the assembly. So, but it's fine because, quite frankly, the work that she did was very important. The advocacy that she had on that particular project, as well as so many of you in this room, have advocated for very important things, and we all up here appreciate that a lot. Catherine later, in 2014, ran for council, and I was certainly supportive of her running and was very pleased with her success. She was, as a citizen, very strong advocate for the acquisition of Pacific View. She was here at some late meetings with her mom, advocating that we acquire Pacific View, and somehow, by the grace of God, we were able to do that. Thank you very much for your public advocacy as a private citizen, and then your leadership as mayor to advance to the point where we are now doing the necessary rehabilitation on that building. So, but aside from that, you're joining the council, your advocacy for the urban farming that we were needing to pursue and get approved. You were doing that as a private citizen, as a candidate. You joined us on the council. You took over and started working with me on the subcommittee for that. We got the urban ag ordinance passed. I think some important changes. I was especially appreciative of the beekeeping aspects of the ordinance, and so that was great. There have been many other projects working with you you were on Sandag, I was on NCTD. We had meetings every other week with critical staff people to communicate construction issues and to address concerns that we had, or neighbors or residents of our community had on the Coastal Rail Trail. That was a long haul, but cutting the ribbon on that facility was a really important project for our community. And then, wrapping up your service here in the region as the chair of Sandag, and I had the opportunity to serve as chair of NCTD. So we've been kind of operating on parallel tracks to pull out a railroad term there. So It's really been an honor and a privilege to be able to serve with you. And all I can say is that I'm very pleased to have you at the State Senate. Between you and Tasha, you guys need to bring home the bacon, okay? So.
All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go down here and recognize Catherine a little bit more. I have a plaque, and we also have a city council gift.
Yes, and if I may request the powers that be in the audience to bring that gift forward, that would be great. Thank you.
We're going to have some photos. So the first thing we're going to do, all right, so we have some beautiful, we have the key to the city that we're going to give to the mayor. So I'm going to read the plaque. It's really simple, so I'm not going to go on and on. Presented to Catherine Blakespear in appreciation and recognition of your dedicated service to the city of Encinitas. 2014 to 2016 city council member, 2016 to 2022 mayor of the city of Encinitas. Second elected.
So it's so nice, this key, and it's a key to the city, and I've always thought, even as a little kid, that mayors getting the key to the city is such a symbolic thing, right? Because it's like that you're able to open the heart of the city. That's what I think of the key as, and so it's so nice that you guys thought to do that, and I really love it, and it'll be prominently displayed in my Senate office. So thank you, thank you.
We want to get a picture first. Let's get a picture first. Anybody from staff? Do you guys have? Does anybody have a Scott. Scott, can you share?
Okay, and over here we have the second gift for you. And this is a gift from the community and the council. And it is a woman artist whose name is Daniela Manini. And here you'll see a lot of the landmarks of Encinitas. And one I'd like to point out are those tiny houses on the hills, which represent the ADUs that we have added under your tenure as mayor. And so I'm going to hand that over to you or Tony to hold while I give you the second gift. And you can open this now, unless my husband did a really good job packing that up. But give it a try and go ahead and open it. And so if you contributed to this gift or signed this gift, please stand up so that Catherine can see who's all come together for this. And this is also a woman artist, and her name is Stone Steps Arboretum. That's her business. And she travels our beaches, and she collects fine specimens of seaweed, and then she makes these prints. And so this one's she signs where she found it. This one was found at Beacons Beach. And we know that you need to furnish your new apartment in Sacramento. So this is for you to furnish your apartment. Remember us, remember Beacons. You don't strike me as the kind of person that takes a nap, but maybe every once in a while, when you're having a rough day, you can find some comfort in knowing your hometown is in your heart and here in this pillow. So please stand up if you contributed so Catherine's able to see all the people that signed this, put some money together. And there's a lot more who aren't here tonight.
Well, thank you, everybody. Look at the back, all the people who signed it. This is lovely and so personal. I love it. Thank you. Should we take one more photo? Yeah. Thank you. And let's just get one photo of just the council, just without the gifts in it, too. Okay, well, thank you. That was really lovely. There's my husband taking his selfie. And I love my teammates, and I think I said that before, but you could hear from all of them how articulate they are, how much they speak from their heart, and it's been just so great to be on a team with them. I'm going to a group of 40 from a group of 5, and so I have a little bit of trepidation about whether that's going to be quite as collegial, and I doubt it. But I've really loved this team, and I've loved the teams I've served with all 8 years. So I want to express that again to you. So thank you. I just want to also say a couple words of appreciation for the professional staff, because the city. Because the city council sets these policy direction, and we say to the city manager, make it happen. Like, we need to make Pacific View happen. We need to make Streetscape happen, Leucadia Streetscape happen. We know it's expensive. How can we work within our budget? How can we get to yes? And then it's up to them to do that. So unfortunately, our city manager, Pam Antill, unfortunately her father passed, so she's not able to be with us tonight. But our assistant city manager is here, Jennifer Campbell, filling in. She also does an excellent job actualizing the council's goals. And I've had the privilege of serving with 2 main city managers, Karen Brust and Pam Antill. Both of them have been excellent at executing, accomplishing things, dealing with 5 different personalities, interacting with the public, really top level. I think the professional staff who works at the city is second to none. It really is impressive what we're able to do here. I want to recognize our attorney, who is straight out of Central Casting. He is the brainiac, encyclopedic mind. He is the guy that you want to be representing the city. I'm so thrilled that we hired you, and thank you for coming on, Tarquin. We'll give you a round of applause. Thank you. And we have our city clerk, Kathy Hollywood, who's here. She is. I'm so glad you all stood up and recognized her, and there was such a robust applause there, because Kathy is incredibly professional. She is always unbiased. She is interacting with the things related to the elections and how is it that we follow all the processes and procedures that a city needs to do. She is incredible, and she in many ways is the face of the city for many people who are only interacting with Kathy. So I have had nothing but the most positive things to say about her. If I could give her a big fat raise, I would. And so I'm really grateful that you've been with us this whole time, Kathy. Thank you. And then I want to recognize in the back, we have some of the council assistants. So we have Jen Blees. Raise your hand, Jen. Say hello. She also interacts with the public a lot. And next to her is Anne Marie. Raise your hand, Anne Marie. And next to her is Julie. Wave. Hi, Julie. So all of them support the council and in the many administrative ways that we need support, making appointments and making sure that people who send an email, that they get a response email from the city, because we get hundreds of emails and we can't personally respond to all of them. There is a lot of work that's done on that back end. And then we also have an incredible number of department heads and then the staff who works under them. So I have really been impressed with the caliber of the staff, the people who are hired here, and the difficult things that they have to deal with, because it is a very high-touch community. So there has to be patience. You like that high touch? It's true. And so we really do have great staff, and it's worth recognizing them and giving them another round of applause for all the work they do. Thank you. So I don't know, I'll hand it to the city clerk now, if there's anything else on the agenda that you think we need to cover.
We have a couple of more items. We have our assembly member is up next to present the mayor with a certificate.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure how I'm going to follow all of that already, because I think you covered everything plus more in my talking points. But I'm Tasha Berner Horvath. I am honored to serve as your assembly member. And I'm honored to hopefully be the first legislator to welcome you to the state legislature, Catherine. So while you lose her, I gain her as an ally And I think we can think about all the things that we covered here. We covered infrastructure, we covered roads, housing, homelessness, environmental action, climate action, all those things. I have not had a partner in the state Senate for the last 4 years that I've served. And so what you're getting is not just a state senator in Catherine. You're getting somebody who has all this tangible, on-the-ground experience, which makes for an amazing state legislator. And you not only have me, I only served on the council for 2 years. If you remember, I tell people in Sacramento, if you hate what I do, it's Catherine's fault. So it's like, blame Catherine, you know? Because she did in 2015. I had never spoken in front of council, but, you know, we wanted a stop sign near Pawlequee Central, because I had to bring it up. And I came to council that day, and I said, I would like to invite you all on an unsafe route to school. I was living in the kind of family area on La Vida, and it was really hard. My kids couldn't walk and bike to school. And we asked for 4 things. We asked for the stop sign at Sirius and Hygeia. We asked for the queuing lane in front of Pawlequee Central. We asked for the underpass to get from Pawlequee to the 101. And we asked for the completion from the underpass to Encinitas Boulevard, which the remaining council members still get to look at from 2015. And you did an amazing job with your leadership and all the people who came before me and will come after us at doing that, and having that experience of knowing that how our kids bike and walk through the city. What does that mean for Encinitas? But you extrapolate that to what does it mean for your Orange County cities, for Oceanside, for Vista, for Carlsbad. And many of you know in redistricting, I lost Oceanside and Vista. And I'm so grateful that they're going to have you to turn to because they need help. The diversity, inclusion, and equity issues we face in Encinitas are a tiny fraction of what Oceanside and Vista have to deal with. In Vista, we have 3,310 homeless or near homeless children. And that is not something we have in Encinitas. And so your work and preparation from Encinitas, just like mine, that you prepared me for, has set you up for really helping not just Encinitas, but all the communities in North San Diego and through Orange County. So I know this is supposed to, I think I have so many hopes for your term in the state legislature. And I have so many dreams of what we're going to be able to accomplish together. But it's all built on the past decade of public service that you've given our city. So with that, I'm not going to cry like I typically do. And I'm going to present you with a certificate of recognition for your years of service, Catherine. And where'd Joe go? And because I won't be here next year, and I served with Joe, I am doing a special, I've been granted permission by Kathy Hollywood to do a special certificate of recognition because you're leaving our council. And I came in 2016 and we appointed you, Joe, and I didn't really know what we were getting with you. I was like, here's this dude that used to work for SDG&E. Do we really trust him with energy policy? You know? And we do, and we made the right call. And you have been a champion on all things related to climate action and the environment and our roads and our trails. You know, our state budget this last year was the first year I could actually get something for Encinitas because, as I was saying, Oceanside and Vista had so many needs. And so we got almost $4 million for Encinitas. And one of those things was the Leave Behind Trails. And partially that was because for 2 years I sat next to Joe, who was like, we have these trails, Sasha. We need them, like, can't only think about your bike lanes in downtown. You have to think about the trails in Oceanside, or not Oceanside, Leave Behind. And so your service has been remarkable, Joe. You moved into this town and you came back and you had this European experience. You were up, and I can't even remember the name of the city, up there in LA in the San Gabriel Valley. And he had been involved in all these different clubs and knows all these different people that I serve with in the state legislature. And so you have been so effective in the last 4 years for me being in the assembly of saying, what about this policy? What about this policy? So even though you're not on the council, Joe, I'm going to expect you to still give me calls, still talk about CCAs, still talk about energy security. I just got back from a trip to Japan where we were looking at energy security and hydrogen. How do we really do this? Like, if we're going to stay under 2 degrees Celsius global warming, how are we going to do this? And I think all of us, want to leave the planet better than we found it, but we've found it in pretty crappy conditions. And we're going to have to do a lot at the state level, and we can't do that alone. Catherine and I can't do that alone. We're going to need people who used to work for SDG&E to help us and to really understand energy policy in a really meaningful way to help us guide us through what's going to be a really rocky next 10 to 15 years of figuring out how we're going to save the planet. So, Joe, it was an honor serving with you. Thank you for your service to our city. I'm very sad you did it. I'm kind of angry that you didn't run again. Also, I won't let that go unnoticed. But with that, I'm grateful for all the years you did give us, because it is a sacrifice, and your family gave us. So thank you, Joe. I know there's going to be a celebration next year or next week, but I wanted to personally thank you.
Have one more item before we break, and that's going to be, well, my computer's not coming up. But I think it's other presentations and other speakers that want to come up and say nice words for our outgoing mayor.
Yes,
We
so
have one person so far that has signed up. If you'd like to speak and say a few words, you're welcome to do that. Just give your name and give your name over to Kathy Hollywood, our city clerk, and she'll sign you up and let you come up and speak. So I believe we have one person so far.
Danny Salshandler.
Danny Salshandler. So I want to know when we're going to get, that's next week. That's next week. You won't be here. That's for Tony. But you'll be here. So quite a few years ago, you had just been elected. I didn't know who you were, but I was at an art exhibit, Encinitas. And someone said, well, that's Catherine Blakespeare. I said, well, she got elected to city council. Oh, I need to go talk to her. And if you remember, I got you cornered in the southwest corner of the community center there and went on about a 10-minute rant about something, probably Arts Alive, I don't know. Yeah, it was definitely about Arts Alive. And I walked away from that thinking, this is a very easy person to talk at. And and you got so involved in Arts Alive, your family did a banner. It's one of the 2 banners that actually was stolen off the light pole. I assured you that it was more than likely a fan and an art lover that couldn't afford it, probably not a tall drunk that stumbled out of the Daily Double. And we made a print of it and hung that back up there. And then the whole thing with the Art Center came on. Well, is she for it? Is she getting? Well, she's out there digging in the dirt, putting weeds and planting flowers. So, thank you.
Judy Burlfine.
Okay, since everyone's reminiscing, I figure I'll take my turn. We met, my memory, at a meeting for the rail trail, and I was looking around for someone who wanted the rail trail to go through the lagoon, and someone said, you should talk to that person over there. And then we did a lot of things to try and figure out how that could happen, and we went on a field trip with some people from Sandag. And afterwards, we sat in your van in the dark, and you said, I'm thinking of running for city council. And I remember I was like in tears. I was like, yes, please do it. I don't want to do it, and you want all the things that I want, so please go make that happen. So thank you so much. We went through hard times with the rail trail, and it's just, I feel just like you, like these are the good old days. I drove on in my car on the streetscape today, and it was just, I'd been reading an article about how in Europe they have so many fewer ped and bike accidents because people drive in sane ways. And I was just like, yes, we took this from being a crazy road and made it into something where, for the people who live here, who want to go to the shops and walk and bike, and you can change something from being awful to being fabulous. So thank you so much.
Naime Woodward, followed by Chris Powell.
I couldn't possibly pass on the opportunity. I think I first encountered having a conversation with you. I was an arts commissioner, and you were a commissioner, and we were conversing about the housing elements at that time, and that was years ago. And I have to admit, at that point, you made such an impression. I was so impressed. You were so articulate. And part of me knew you're going places. And ever since I've had the privilege of knowing you, serving with you, having got to know your family and being involved, and I so appreciate your courage, your leadership, and for taking a stand for a lot of good things. You've made us all better. You've been a shining light, truly. No one is perfect, but you're almost there. And I mean that in a really sincere way. And I just want to thank you and say how much I appreciate it. And I so look forward to working with all of you, and look forward to working, in the capacity that I work with. And I know you're going to do great things. And I look forward to supporting you however we can, and seeing you around, really. So thank you. Thank you.
Chris Powell will be followed by Marlon Taylor.
I'm going to try not to cry. I saw Rosemary at Cardiff Elementary School, where my grandchildren were going and your children were going, and she said, "Vote for my niece. She's running for city council." And I said, "Well, who's your niece?" And so every time I saw you, I'd introduce myself to you. "My name is Chris Powell, and you're going to run for mayor." And then finally one day you sat down with me and you said, "Who are you?" And I got invited to your 40th birthday party, but I was unfortunately not well to go. But then I found out Scott, who I worked with many years in advertising, was your campaign manager. And somehow you two roped me into volunteering, being your volunteer coordinator, where we had our stealth team, and we supported you for many elections. And just, it was one of the times of my life. And what I've seen you grow to become, and who you're going to be when you get to Sacramento, is outrageous. And I remember standing in the background going, "Smile, smile," when you're speaking. You don't need that anymore. You speak so eloquently and from the heart, and I'm so proud and honored to have served you. And just remember, my family's in Sacramento, so if you ever, and my sister's more of a mommy than anybody I've ever met, so and she's very close to the Capitol, so if you ever need anybody, they will be there for you. Love you.
Marlon Taylor will be followed by Kevin Doyle.
Good evening. Marlon Taylor, Encinitas. I just want to say, one, congratulations. Thank you for all the work that you've done for the city. I think our first encounter happened about 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe. I was doing some work in our garage. I was trying to learn some stuff about the sheriff's department. And I get a phone call, And, I'm like, hello? Oh, it's Catherine. Catherine who? The mayor. And I go to my wife, oh, snap. The mayor's calling me. And we ended up having a really good conversation from there. Just these chance encounters here and there, and then really seeing how you operated during the Equity Committee work was absolutely outstanding. And over the last couple years, randomly coming to some of the city council meetings and watching the way you endured some of those meetings, the grace, the poise, the professionalism. I think it's been a benefit to the city, and that will be missed. Tony's very graceful as well, but again, thank you so much for everything that you've done, and congratulations again, and good luck as you go up north. So don't forget about us.
Kevin Doyle will be followed by Marco Gonzalez and then Molly Woods.
Catherine, thank you. I feel like I've always been in the back of every room because I was there I remember when you came to Happy Fish and presented at 101, at the Lucadia 101. Kelly was there. And we were, of course, everyone starts out passionate over a project. For us, it was the 101. First it was sidewalks, and then it was streetscape. And you got it right away, and you supported us all the way through. And it was a knockdown, drag-out battle. As you pointed out, I mean, that was a killer. But you've been here my whole time in public service now. It's when Tasha, where's Tasha? Is she still here? When Tasha was elected to council, then, the planning commission seat came open and you took a chance on me. I didn't really have the chops for that job. I had the design background, but you appointed me then, gave me a chance, and you appointed me again, and then one more time, and I've got another year and a half, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do next. Something annoying, and I know I've really enjoyed working with you, and it's sad to see you go, but honestly, I look at, nobody ever leaves this town. It's like, yes, you'll go on, you'll do other things in other places, but you're still here. I mean, Tasha's still here, Tony and Kelly and Joy, and, well, Joe, you're still staying here, right? I'm counting on that. I'm really interested to see what Joe does next. Catherine, I know what you're busy doing, so just want to wish you the best of luck, and thank you for all the years of service you put in here. It means a lot to us all. And that's all I got. Thanks.
Honorable Mayor, last time I had to say that to you. About 25 years I've been suing the city, challenging city council members, mayors, issues. And it's interesting looking back on those 25 years because we break up politics into eras of leadership, eras of personality. And I'm proud to have been a part of the Blake Spear era because that's really what it's been. It could be characterized by many of the public works projects and the successes that you mentioned when you spoke to us earlier. But there's a bigger picture as well. There's the fact that you came of age in your political career at the same time as social media. And while I spent a lot of time with Lisa Schaefer and Teresa Barth and living through the clowns of Maggie Houlihan's era, if you will, you had to live, but you had to live through a level of discourse and vitriol that no one before you did in that level of leadership. And really all of you on the councils we've seen, particularly in the last two elections, have had to live through that level of vitriol. And as I've seen in my own family, my sister, my brother-in-law, having many of the same sort of haters that we have here in Encinitas coming after leadership, I'm keenly aware of the poise and really the difficulty of ignoring it when appropriate, of seeing past it, even when it bites you, when it's a personal lawsuit or when it's a frivolous or vindictive person or group of people who really try to get at your most base personal issues and make them public. And I would just say, I'm proud of you for handling that with so much poise, with so much grace, and if there's one other thing I know, it's, kudos to Ava, Oliver, and Jeremy for being there for you, because at the end of the day, when public officials get railed on in the public eye, when they can go home to the unconditional love of a supportive family, that's what ultimately gives them the strength to be successful. And so thank you, and look forward to the next era. Thanks, guys.
Next speaker is Molly Woods, and she'll be followed by Gabby Love.
So I feel like I am late to the party here. Some may say I arrived on the scene 2 years ago, but I moved to Encinitas in 2014, and my job working for SEIU largely had me working on national politics and state politics. And I met Kelly about 6 years ago after the unfortunate 2016 election, and so I feel like I got to start to be involved locally in what was happening, but it's really only in the last 2.5, 3 years that I had the opportunity to work closer with you. And I'm so, you talked about mentorship, and while I haven't had the opportunity to work directly with you in many ways, I feel like you've been an incredible inspiration and mentor to be on the equity committee with, but just to watch. To Marco's point, I'm not an elected official, but I feel like I experience a lot of the arrows that come, and how you handle it inspires me to be a better person in how I handle it and how to not engage with people that, in that manner. And if I am going to engage with people, to actually do it face to face and to have a conversation. And I know it's a incredibly difficult thing to be in office in any arena, but to do it when you're a woman, I think has an entirely different difficulty to it. And to Marco's point, there are attacks that I've seen against you that are very particular to women, and you inspire women to want to run for office, to sit on commissions, and I think that there is an incredible legacy that will follow behind you of women that, it's like will step into this position because they've seen not just what you have done in the city, but what you're going to do at the state, what you've done at the county on Sandag. And I personally am just so grateful for you helping me to step into an arena that I may otherwise have been uncomfortable and afraid to do. And so I have for you a little Ganesh, which it's for those that don't know, Ganesh is the Hindu god that removes obstacles from your path. And so I wanted to get you a Kali or a Durga, and they actually ride the tiger and lob the heads off their enemies, but they didn't have any at Soulscape. And I know you will do that just fine, but I actually hope that there are none, that I hope that the obstacles that may have, it's like really formed you into this diamond that we're sending off to the state Senate will not follow you there. And I hope that Ganesh and whatever the gods are that people believe in will continue to move those obstacles, because I know that's what you do for us. And so I'm so grateful for your leadership and just also for your friendship and for your mentorship that you've provided to me. So thank you.
Next is Gabby Love, followed by Jim Wing.
Hello, Catherine. Felicidades. Not many of you might know me, but I work very closely with the Latino community here in Encinitas, and I work really, really hard. And I kind of in the background. And when I first met you, I remember that it was during one of the Dia de los Muertos event that you were very supportive of and everything. And from that moment, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to be acknowledged after that. But every time that I've seen you, you've acknowledged me. And for a community who feels invisible means a lot. So the fact that you see me, that means that you see my community and that you make sure to acknowledge us. And I am so grateful that you're going to be stepping up to the state level because I know that you will remember us. So thank you for seeing me. Thank you for seeing my community and supporting us, and we support you back.
We've had so many good speakers, kind of hard to follow them. But I was at the 2014 Encinitas Environmental Fair. I was pretty politically ignorant at the time, and I was just minding my own business, running booths, when this woman comes up and accosts me, and in 30 seconds, she speaks so eloquently and articulately that you had my vote. And I followed you through the election year. I was pleased to attend your victory party, and I happened to carry my camera at the time, took a picture of you. You look so great with the microphone. I even posted on Facebook, said, Mayor 2016. And somehow that happened. I'm so glad it did. And then I was on the Environmental Commission. I found out I could write these reports saying that, well, we ought to have community choice energy. We ought to update our climate action plan. We ought to get rid of single-use plastics. We ought to declare a climate emergency. We ought to have building electrification. And you made it happen. So I'm so grateful for that. And although, as other people have expressed, it's a real shame that we lose you here in Encinitas because you've been such a great asset. I don't have to tell you because you've already gone over it, and so many other people, how much the city has changed in the past 8 years. And I'm looking forward to that happening at the state level too. So although it's our loss, it's also our gain because we get to see it happen on the state level. So thank you so much. Appreciate your public service and still looking forward to it at the state level. Thank you very much.
Any other speakers? Danny, coming back?
I saw the confused look on your face. That was actually Mayor Gaspar's whose banner got stolen off the light pole. So it wasn't you, but maybe next time.
Well, thank you, Danny, for that clarification. So if there are no more speakers, then I think this is an end to this part of the meeting. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much, Catherine, for being an awesome team member and mayor for our city. And so what we're going to do now is Catherine's going to hang out a little bit, and we're also going to go over to the reception. So please hang out with us and celebrate Catherine's public service to our great city. Thank you.
Thank you. We are adjourned.